Ready? Play.
Belinda Bencic. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, I do think it's time that we look forward to her semi-final. Swiatek against Belinda Bencic. Swiatek obviously winning today in straight sets. The head-to-head, by the way, between these two is 3-1 in the favor of Iga Swiatek. Let's have a quick look at the path to the semi-final for both of these two players. First of all, Belinda Bencic. She came through 6-love, 6-3 over Alicia Parks in the first round. And then in the second round, she had a 3-setter over Jacquemont, where she lost the first set 6-4, but quickly reset, rounding off the next 2 sets, losing just 3 games. But what an epic she had in the third round against Cocciaretto. That'll be the one that she remembers if she does go on to lift the title. Of course, she's one of the final 4, so she has to be in the reckoning there, albeit some might view her as the outsider against Iga Swiatek, and even the final if it comes up, particularly against Aryna Sabalenka. But anyway, yes, she won that tiebreak 10-7 against the Italian in the third round. That was an epic. She then came through in straight sets over Alexandrova and did exactly the same today over Mira Andreeva. Just regarding that win over Andreeva today, though, of course, there were some volleys from Mira at the net that didn't work out in that second set tiebreak. Also a double fault for Mira Andreeva, which wasn't well timed, so Mira may have just been a bit off it. I do think that Mira wasn't really on it against Emma Navarro. I do think that was a deceptive scoreline in that particular match. But anyway, back to Belinda. She got the job done. Did look like she was struggling a bit physically towards the end. So particularly with the toe, or the toenail specifically, I think there would have been a medical timeout had that obviously been necessary, as that was getting aggravated towards the end of the match. That's something to keep an eye out in her semi-final with Iga. Iga came through, by the way, today in flying colors with a straight sets win over Samsonova. Let's have a quick look at Iga Swiatek's path to the semi-finals. That has included wins over Kudermetova in round 1 in straight sets, a 3-sets win over McNally, then a straight sets win over Collins, then a 6-4, 6-1 win over Towson. Her serve has been getting better and better throughout this tournament. Was a bit more vulnerable on serve today to Samsonova, but ultimately Iga coming through 6-2, 7-5. And so her semi-final with Bencic, of course, is a rematch of their Wimbledon quarterfinal of 2023 when Bencic had match points. I think she had a couple of them. And Iga prevailed there. 6-7, 7-6, 6-3. Previous wins for Iga came in Doha and in Australia United Cup in 2023. So they played 3 times that year, and Iga won all 3, it would appear. That one in Doha doesn't seem to have a scoreline, so I don't know whether that was a retirement from Bencic. Oh, maybe the Doha one didn't happen. Whatever, anyway. Strange website that we have, of course. What a surprise. The one win for Bencic came in the US Open in 2021, a straight sets win there. Previous to that, there was an Adelaide 500 that Iga won. So ignore that Doha comment. But basically, the one that we'll all be remembering and honing in on as we look forward to this match is that 3-set epic that Swiatek had in the round of 16. One of the matches of the year, that particular year, that Iga won. How do I see this one going? Well, there's a lot of factors, I think, in favor of Iga Swiatek. I think that she's serving better than ever before. I think she's playing better on grass than ever before. Of course, she made the Bad Homburg final recently as well before she lost to Jessica Pegula there. I think Bencic's run has been incredible, but she has been vulnerable, none more so than in that Cocciaretto match. Today, I thought Mira Andreeva was off it, more than Bencic was on it. Bencic was solid. She didn't break the Mira-Andreeva serve, though, until near the end of the match, and then ultimately was serving for the match. But physically as well, Iga has to be in a much better shape. And so, therefore, I expect Iga Swiatek to prevail in that semi-final, probably in 3 sets. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Ready. Play.
Belinda Bencic. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, I do think it's time that we look forward to her semi-final. Swiatek against Belinda Bencic. Swiatek obviously winning today in straight sets. The head-to-head, by the way, between these two is 3-1 in the favor of Iga Swiatek. Let's have a quick look at the path to the semi-final for both of these two players. First of all, Belinda Bencic. She came through 6-love, 6-3 over Alicia Parks in the first round. And then in the second round, she had a 3-setter over Jacquemont, where she lost the first set 6-4, but quickly reset, rounding off the next 2 sets, losing just 3 games. But what an epic she had in the third round against Cocciaretto. That'll be the one that she remembers if she does go on to lift the title. Of course, she's one of the final 4, so she has to be in the reckoning there, albeit some might view her as the outsider against Iga Swiatek, and even the final if it comes up, particularly against Aryna Sabalenka. But anyway, yes, she won that tiebreak 10-7 against the Italian in the third round. That was an epic. She then came through in straight sets over Alexandrova and did exactly the same today over Mira-Andreeva. Just regarding that win over Andreeva today, though, of course, there were some volleys from Mira at the net that didn't work out in that second set tiebreak. Also a double fault for Mira-Andreeva, which wasn't well timed, so Mira may have just been a bit off it. I do think that Mira wasn't really on it against Emma Navarro. I do think that was a deceptive scoreline in that particular match. But anyway, back to Belinda. She got the job done. Did look like she was struggling a bit physically towards the end. So particularly with the toe, or the toenail specifically, I think there would have been a medical timeout had that obviously been necessary, as that was getting aggravated towards the end of the match. That's something to keep an eye out in her semi-final with Iga. Iga came through, by the way, today in flying colors with a straight sets win over Samsonova. Let's have a quick look at Iga Swiatek's path to the semi-finals. That has included wins over Kudermetova in round 1 in straight sets, a 3-sets win over McNally, then a straight sets win over Collins, then a 6-4, 6-1 win over Towson. Her serve has been getting better and better throughout this tournament. Was a bit more vulnerable on serve today to Samsonova, but ultimately Iga coming through 6-2, 7-5. And so her semi-final with Bencic, of course, is a rematch of their Wimbledon quarterfinal of 2023 when Bencic had match points. I think she had a couple of them. And Iga prevailed there. 6-7, 7-6, 6-3. Previous wins for Iga came in Doha and in Australia United Cup in 2023. So they played 3 times that year, and Iga won all 3, it would appear. That one in Doha doesn't seem to have a scoreline, so I don't know whether that was a retirement from Bencic. Oh, maybe the Doha one didn't happen. Whatever, anyway. Strange website that we have, of course. What a surprise. The one win for Bencic came in the US Open in 2021, a straight sets win there. Previous to that, there was an Adelaide 500 that Iga won. So ignore that Doha comment. But basically, the one that we'll all be remembering and honing in on as we look forward to this match is that 3-set epic that Swiatek had in the round of 16. One of the matches of the year, that particular year, that Iga won. How do I see this one going? Well, there's a lot of factors, I think, in favor of Iga Swiatek. I think that she's serving better than ever before. I think she's playing better on grass than ever before. Of course, she made the Bad Homburg final recently as well before she lost to Jessica Pegula there. I think Bencic's run has been incredible, but she has been vulnerable, none more so than in that Cocciaretto match. Today, I thought Andreeva was off it more than Bencic was on it. Bencic was solid. She didn't break the Andreeva serve, though, until near the end of the match, and then ultimately was serving for the match. But physically as well, Iga has to be in a much better shape. And so, therefore, I expect Iga Swiatek to prevail in that semi-final, probably in 3 sets. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Ready. Play.
Belinda Bencic. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, I do think it's time that we look forward to her semi-final. Swiatek against Belinda Bencic. Swiatek obviously winning today in straight sets. The head-to-head, by the way, between these two is 3-1 in the favor of Iga Swiatek. Let's have a quick look at the path to the semi-final for both of these two players. First of all, Belinda Bencic. She came through 6-love, 6-3 over Alicia Parks in the first round. And then in the second round, she had a 3-setter over Jacquemont, where she lost the first set 6-4, but quickly reset, rounding off the next 2 sets, losing just 3 games. But what an epic she had in the third round against Cocciaretto. That'll be the one that she remembers if she does go on to lift the title. Of course, she's one of the final 4, so she has to be in the reckoning there, albeit some might view her as the outsider against Iga Swiatek, and even the final if it comes up, particularly against Aryna Sabalenka. But anyway, yes, she won that tiebreak 10-7 against the Italian in the third round. That was an epic. She then came through in straight sets over Alexandrova and did exactly the same today over Mira Andreeva. Just regarding that win over Andreeva today, though, of course, there were some volleys from Mira at the net that didn't work out in that second set tiebreak. Also a double fault for Mira Andreeva, which wasn't well timed. So Mira may have just been a bit off it. I do think that Mira wasn't really on it against Emma Navarro. I do think that was a deceptive scoreline in that particular match. But anyway, back to Belinda. She got the job done. Did look like she was struggling a bit physically towards the end. So particularly with the toe, or the toenail specifically, I think there would have been a medical timeout had that obviously been necessary, as that was getting aggravated towards the end of the match. That's something to keep an eye out in her semi-final with Iga. Iga came through, by the way, today in flying colors with a straight sets win over Samsonova. Let's have a quick look at Iga Swiatek's path to the semi-finals. That has included wins over Kudermetova in round 1 in straight sets, a 3-sets win over McNally, then a straight sets win over Collins, then a 6-4, 6-1 win over Towson. Her serve has been getting better and better throughout this tournament. Was a bit more vulnerable on serve today to Samsonova, but ultimately Iga coming through 6-2, 7-5. And so her semi-final with Bencic, of course, is a rematch of their Wimbledon quarterfinal of 2023 when Bencic had match points. I think she had a couple of them. And Iga prevailed there. 6-7, 7-6, 6-3. Previous wins for Iga came in Doha and in Australia United Cup in 2023. So they played 3 times that year, and Iga won all 3, it would appear. That one in Doha doesn't seem to have a scoreline, so I don't know whether that was a retirement from Bencic. Oh, maybe the Doha one didn't happen. Whatever, anyway. Strange website that we have, of course. What a surprise. The one win for Bencic came in the US Open in 2021, a straight sets win there. Previous to that, there was an Adelaide 500 that Iga won. So ignore that Doha comment. But basically, the one that we'll all be remembering and honing in on as we look forward to this match is that 3-set epic that Swiatek had in the round of 16, one of the matches of the year, that particular year that Iga won. How do I see this one going? Well, there's a lot of factors, I think, in favor of Iga Swiatek. I think that she's serving better than ever before. I think she's playing better on grass than ever before. Of course, she made the Bad Homburg final recently as well before she lost to Jessica Pegula there. I think Bencic's run has been incredible, but she has been vulnerable, none more so than in that Cocciaretto match. Today, I thought Andreeva was off it more than Bencic was on it. Bencic was solid. She didn't break the Andreeva serve, though, until near the end of the match, and then ultimately was serving for the match. But physically as well, Iga has to be in a much better shape. And so, therefore, I expect Iga Swiatek to prevail in that semi-final, probably in 3 sets. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Ready. Play.
Belinda Bencic. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, I do think it's time that we look forward to her semi-final. Swiatek against Belinda Bencic. Swiatek obviously winning today in straight sets. The head-to-head, by the way, between these two is 3-1 in the favor of Iga Swiatek. Let's have a quick look at the path to the semi-final for both of these two players. First of all, Belinda Bencic. She came through 6-love, 6-3 over Alicia Parks in the first round. And then in the second round, she had a 3-setter over Jacquemont, where she lost the first set 6-4, but quickly reset, rounding off the next 2 sets, losing just 3 games. But what an epic she had in the third round against Cocciaretto. That'll be the one that she remembers if she does go on to lift the title. Of course, she's one of the final 4, so she has to be in the reckoning there, albeit some might view her as the outsider against Iga Swiatek, and even the final if it comes up, particularly against Aryna Sabalenka. But anyway, yes, she won that tiebreak 10-7 against the Italian in the third round. That was an epic. She then came through in straight sets over Alexandrova and did exactly the same today over Andreeva. Just regarding that win over Andreeva today, though, of course, there were some volleys from Mida at the net that didn't work out in that second set tiebreak. Also a double fault for Mida Andreeva, which wasn't well timed. So Mida may have just been a bit off it. I do think that Mida wasn't really on it against Emma Navarro. I do think that was a deceptive scoreline in that particular match. But anyway, back to Belinda. She got the job done. Did look like she was struggling a bit physically towards the end. So particularly with the toe, or the toenail specifically, I think there would have been a medical timeout had that obviously been necessary, as that was getting aggravated towards the end of the match. That's something to keep an eye out in her semi-final with Iga. Iga came through, by the way, today in flying colors with a straight sets win over Samsonova. Let's have a quick look at Iga Swiatek's path to the semi-finals. That has included wins over Kudermetova in round 1 in straight sets, a 3-sets win over McNally, then a straight sets win over Collins, then a 6-4, 6-1 win over Towson. Her serve has been getting better and better throughout this tournament. Was a bit more vulnerable on serve today to Samsonova, but ultimately Iga coming through 6-2, 7-5. And so her semi-final with Bencic, of course, is a rematch of their Wimbledon quarterfinal of 2023, when Bencic had match points. I think she had a couple of them. And Iga prevailed there. 6-7, 7-6, 6-3. Previous wins for Iga came in Doha and in Australia United Cup in 2023. So they played 3 times that year, and Iga won all 3, it would appear. That one in Doha doesn't seem to have a scoreline, so I don't know whether that was a retirement from Bencic. Oh, maybe the Doha one didn't happen. Whatever, anyway. Strange website that we have, of course. What a surprise. The one win for Bencic came in the US Open in 2021, a straight sets win there. Previous to that, there was an Adelaide 500 that Iga won. So ignore that Doha comment. But basically, the one that we'll all be remembering and honing in on as we look forward to this match is that 3-set epic that Swiatek had in the round of 16. One of the matches of the year, that particular year, that Iga won. How do I see this one going? Well, there's a lot of factors, I think, in favor of Iga Swiatek. I think that she's serving better than ever before. I think she's playing better on grass than ever before. Of course, she made the Bad Homburg final recently as well before she lost to Jessica Pegula there. I think Bencic's run has been incredible, but she has been vulnerable, none more so than in that Cocciaretto match. Today, I thought Mira Andreeva was off it more than Bencic was on it. Bencic was solid. She didn't break the Mira Andreeva serve, though, until near the end of the match, and then ultimately was serving for the match. But physically as well, Iga has to be in a much better shape. And so, therefore, I expect Iga Swiatek to prevail in that semi-final, probably in 3 sets. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis. Thanks for tuning into this watch along. While there's a break in play.
My name is Clara Towson and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca George and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom. Yeah.
My name is Zainab Sammaz and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jaime Faria and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Yes.
Take one. Well done.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paulini and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.
Ready? Play.
Well, here we are to talk about Iga Swiatek and Belinda Bencic as it unfolds. Mario, how are you?
Fine, good. It's very nice match, I think. Thanks to the preview, I was listening, and so I got some refreshing on the head-to-head. And it seems like they've always played very interesting matches against each other. And considering also what they did at Wimbledon 2 years ago, it should be a good one. Both are playing great tennis. Both have a great chance, of course. We are guaranteed to have a new Wimbledon champion. Anisimova is in the final, who is a great player and incredibly dangerous. But of course, now all three the remaining players can look at this as a fantastic chance to win a Wimbledon title. Of course, it's not going to be easy. It's never easy in a semi-finals and final of a Grand Slam. But here we are, 3 players left. So 125 are already out, and you got to look at the trophy now, and there's no other chance.
Right, indeed. By the way, I played tennis earlier on today, and then I just watched a match of tennis, a pretty epic one. I'm quite I'm okay, Mary. Don't worry. I'm here for the next 3 hours. I've got myself a radler, if you know what a radler is.
I know.
Boost. So I'm fine. But I tell you what, a combination of both playing, but then also watching. Whew, that was a draining match to watch in terms of Anisimova, Sabalenka, right?
Yeah, because I mean, it was never easy to understand what was about to happen. There was never like a dull moment, let's say, but especially you could feel, for both players, it meant a lot. I mean, all these four players, some of them are already multiple Grand Slam champions. Talking about Arina and Iga, but neither of them has ever played a final at Wimbledon. So it's for sure, regardless of how many Grand Slam titles you have, I think it's, the fun part of this semi-final lineup is that every one of these four players has a big reason to be really tense, and and really feeling like this as a great opportunity, because you never know how many of these you're gonna have, despite you being an extraordinary player, having won slams in the past. So, well, I'm expecting a little bit of the same, actually, even though, of course, the game style is very different between these two players and the two we have seen before. So, of course, it's going to be a totally different match. But I still think you could, really perceive the tension. I think I'm expecting more rallies, even though, actually, they're not like super strong flat hitters like Anisimova and also Sabalenka, but still they really are aggressive on the court. Bencic tries to take the ball extremely early. Iga as well. I mean, she served really well this tournament. So yeah, I mean, Iga starts as the favorite probably because of her resume, but I think Bencic can trouble her. She's done it in the past. The match was not really entertaining for him. Even though, I mean, it was entertaining, especially in that moment.
That was the most entertaining part of the match, because it was the tie break. It was the tie break between.
Yeah, indeed. At the end of an entertaining first set, but not for you, Grant. So he should have probably tried with the other court. I don't know.
Right.
So yeah, let's just see. I'm really interesting. It's really one of these matches I approach with an open-minded, even though I repeat that I think Iga is the favorite. But Belinda is really a player who can beat her. And if you think of the players who have beaten Iga in the past at Wimbledon, it's never been a super strong hitter, but it happened with these players like Svitolina, Putintseva, Cornet, maybe players who have let's say made her move more. So I don't know, if Bencic returns well, I can see this being very, very, very competitive.
Yeah, of course, they haven't met, actually, funny enough. They haven't played a match since that epic that they had in the round of 16 2 years ago at Wimbledon. Did Bencic have 1 or 2 match points in that encounter? 2, maybe?
I think it was 2 consecutive match points in the tiebreak. That's what I remember, 4-6 probably. But as you see, also these straight sets, United Cup, even 21 US Open, even though both were very different players, but there still was at least a tie break. So, probably this also means, the game style is troubling. Bencic game style troubles Iga. Well, Iga, okay. We don't need to say that, she's just an incredible player. But, I think both have the weapons to really make it uncomfortable for the other, and also the quality. So we'll see. Maybe it won't be as competitive as I think it will be, but there are it's promising, I think, as a matchup. Sure,
I agree. Anisimova, in her first Slam final, just wow. And it's been a great Wimbledon on the women's side. There has been some chaos, and we've still had these incredible semi-finals that we've obviously had one today and another one hopefully to come fingers crossed it can live up to the expectations. Last year, we had two great Wimbledon semi-finals. I mean, Paulini Vekic, everyone remembers, but Krejcikova and Rybakina was a good semi-final as well.
Yeah, it was a good one. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, Wimbledon usually entertains me on the women's side. Maybe also because we never have this huge favorite. So this means that even when we have surprises in early rounds, then we still end up having semifinals that can be very, very close. One thing is to have probably Sabalenka and Swiatek on hard courts, but also on clay. And another thing is probably them on the grass. They are still very strong, but every player looks having their vulnerabilities on this. So I think that players that have great quality, even without being top 2-3, like Anisimova, Bencic, can really have their big chance against them. So let's see if this is going to be the case, or if just Anisimova. Either way, it's going to be a great final.
Mario, I'm going to be back in about 60 seconds, but I want you to tell me. I want you to tell me and our audience why you think Swiatek, though, is the slight favorite today.
Well, I think Swiatek is serving really, really well, and so if she keeps her serving level up, I think she's gonna have good chances of holding more frequently than maybe she's done in the past at Wimbledon. And well, then, even though I said, and I stand by that both can feel the tensions, because regardless of how many slams they won and their experience, they still are new to this stage at Wimbledon. But at the same time, for sure, having got slam trophies in your cabinet and having played many semifinals at the Grand Slams and many finals, for sure can help you. And actually, I think probably Swiatek is also freer mentally than she was in the past on the grass, because she always had this very, very heavy, successful clay season, and probably she never arrived in the right spot mentally at Wimbledon. She hasn't been good enough to shut down all that happened on the clay. This year, of course, there's no reason to believe that, because even though she had still a nice run at the French Open, reaching the semis, I mean, it wasn't that exhausting in previous years. And so I feel like she's really been able to come fresh and ready on the grass, and she's showing that. And especially now, the early rounds can be trickier, maybe because the grass is new, is looking more like grass, let's say. Now, I mean, you have already played 5 matches on the surface, and everything is slowing down a little bit. So I think this is going to help her as well. And yeah, that's it.
Did you see, Mario, any of her matches in Bad Homburg? I think I saw a few minutes of her quarterfinal, but that was about it. I'm just wondering if there was anything from that Bad Homburg run that told us that maybe she was ready to win Wimbledon this year.
I actually only watched the final.
Okay, but that's still more than me. I watched, I think, who did she play in the quarterfinals? A big hitter. Wasn't Samsonova, was it, in the quarterfinals?
Alexandrova,
that's it. So I saw about half an hour of that match. But you saw her final. Obviously, it was a straight sets loss to Pegula. Funny enough, it made me think Pegula's getting semis or final at Wimbledon rather than... I didn't see the final, but I just thought, Pegula won Berlin last year. She's been in the quarterfinals at Wimbledon before. I thought that she was going to have a good run, but
you know what? I took the positive from that final. Iga hit lots and fast errors in when she was at the finishing line in the rally, but taking positive from that, she managed to get in good position quite often during the rally, and this was good sign in my opinion. Even though she hit too many mistakes in in those moments, in those rallies, which let Pegula win many points when she was in defensive situations. But at the same time, I really saw her like, okay, she's really building many chances. She's building the point quite well, even though she's not finalizing that well. So who knows? Maybe working on this, she can do well at Wimbledon as well. And she's doing it. She hasn't had an easy draw at all, because like Samsonova, for example, is a very strong player, and especially on this surface can really trouble anybody on any given day. And she troubled Iga for the second part of the match, before Iga managed somehow to close it out in straight. And let's say that Iga has also been a great problem solving ability. She fell.
Just saw Bencic fall. She's okay, but she's all
because
right.
I mean, everybody falls. Everybody has issues. So I'm tired.
We haven't had any update on Novak, which I guess is good. No news is good news, So
usually yes. Even though for example, here in Italy, they were like, "Oh, why we don't know anything about the MRI?" And I'm like, "Okay, if we don't hear anything, I think it's fine." And it looked fine during the match as well. Only in the second set against Shelton, Yannick seemed having little trouble, but the whole picture was very, very good.
Oh, we're gonna have a break point here, Mario. I want to see.
Late. I don't know why I'm so late in the.
Okay, I can press pause on my stream, no problem.
Like now, Swiatek misses a backhand and we are 30-all.
Wow, yeah, you are pretty far behind.
I don't know why. Like Wimbledon for me is the worst to watch. Okay. Gotta be honest.
I'm gonna press pause, and I am gonna change to Google, which is a few seconds slower than the Wimbledon website. So
no, that's not an issue. I have a book which is covering me the score.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. But I am going to change to that one because it's slightly Google Wimbledon website is about 5 seconds ahead of me, and Google is about 5 seconds behind. So I do usually use Google. But while we were just talking,
I saw the mistake, which was pretty unusual for Bencic. Usually backhand is her, trademark shot. Let's say she rarely misses backhands.
Let me know when you've seen the next point. Just tell me when it finishes.
She's about to serve the first serve.
Okay.
That's where I am right now. And Iga is looking in charge, and she wins the point. So 2 games to love. That's where I am.
I have to say, from the first 7 minutes of this match, I know this is a crazy, very recency bias, very reactionary take. I can't see how Iga doesn't win this match. I know it's only 2 games, but 7 minutes.
I can see one way, and it's Bencic raising the level, meaning that she gifted the break point, for example, hitting a very unusual mistake. So I still think this can be more competitive than this if Bencic raises the level. But at the same time, I agree with what you say, meaning that if we focus on Iga, we are also seeing a very poised, focused version. And we all know that if Iga plays like at this level, it's very difficult for like 98% of the players. So the first 2 games are looking looking that way here.
Bencic is raising the level here, though, in this point for sure.
Yeah,
I mean
that's what she needs to do.
Yeah, definitely. Never made a slam final. Never made a slam final, has she?
No.
Which is a little disappointing, I would suggest. A US Open semi-final, I think, is all she has, right, from 2019.
Yeah, for me, the disappointing thing is actually that this is only the second semi. Because, reaching the final, I can even understand that you kind of need maybe many things to come together and it's there's also, for example, Svitolina never reaching a final. But only second. Considering that Bencic has always been very dangerous. She's had lots of success in outside the slams as well. Gold medal for 1,000. Not four. Sorry, this is Svitolina, but she's won a couple 1,000 titles. So I mean, the fact that this was the second one and only one before today, it's pretty weird to think about.
Sure. 15 all here on the Swiatek serve.
First point doesn't seem moving that well.
No, to be honest,
this was weird a little bit.
Towards the end of her previous match, she started moving more nervously or gingerly, but that was partly down to a toe issue that she had, but just a toenail issue that was going to be fine for a couple of days later. But yeah, it was partly at the end of that match, but also the beginning of this one, which has now raised my level of conviction that Swiatek is going to win.
Yeah, I'm not seeing, like that level of fitness that's needed. But yeah, we have seen things improving mid-match as well. Of course, this start has been very promising for Iga. Even this look, you know what I mean?
Yeah. The sort of acknowledgement, I'm in this match. I've got Belinda where I want her. She sort of does that shake of the racket as she holds serve there, etc. Yeah, I don't know. It's an ominous look and an ominous start. I just maybe also partly as well, having just witnessed that previous epic, I just feel as though, and Anisimova Swiatek final, by the way, I think it's got its charms.
Yeah,
of course, we've still not had a Sabalenka Swiatek final, and how close
we probably have to give up.
Maybe we didn't have any match points today, but I mean, she was just a couple of points away from winning that match. So, yeah, it's another one of those where, especially if Swiatek does win this, then it would be like, nope, another one come and gone. Another semi-final for Sabalenka as well. That's 3 now at Wimbledon.
Yeah, I mean, her record outside Wimbledon now is very good, actually, because she's like 6-2 outside Wimbledon in Slam semifinals. But yeah,
is it really that good? Is it 6-2?
Yeah, 6-2 outside Wimbledon. She lost a couple.
Okay, so 6-5 with Wimbledon, right? Yeah.
Yeah, without Wimbledon, 6-2.
Got it.
But at Wimbledon, she's always managed to win a set as well, but she's never managed to win that deciding set.
Right. All those 3 losses were super close. I mean, she's up a set and a break on Jabeur. She's up an early break in the third today.
And probably was the least close, actually, meaning that, she was a set and break up, but I don't remember in the third set her having really chances against Pliskova. And today as well, because she gets the break, and then she has like 3-1 Anisimova serving. She's 15-40 up, and she doesn't break. And then she saves a set point. She breaks back. But, I mean, well played, Amanda. That she played very well, actually, I got to say. This time, I have to admit that I haven't seen Arina, doing really bad. Like, I mean, in other losses it happens that, there were so many mistakes. Like, it hasn't really been like that, at least from what I could watch. Amanda, for example, returned really well in the final game. So
it was a lot easier for her mentally, wasn't it? That return game compared with the serving game. The mental, it was also like it at the beginning of the third set when she went down. She was a bit nervous at the end of the second set. She double faulted to when she got broken. She obviously loses that second set. She then goes down an early break, and it was not a great game from Amanda at the beginning of that set. And you thought, oh dear, this is a bad 10 minutes for her, and it could well cost her the match. What's going on here? Is Bencic going to get some medical attention for something? Because I can see...
I see spectators.
You see what, sorry?
Aren't these spectators?
No, there was a dude was a dude there with a shirt, and so he's obviously a formal Ralph. He was wearing a Ralph Lauren Wimbledon shirt. I'm just going to turn my TV up.
Okay, the shoulder probably. She is asking the next changeover, or probably now, or what's happening?
I think she's going to have a.
No, she's
due to weather. Wait. Due to weather, I'm reading this. We encourage. Oh no, it's just due to weather. We encourage you to, drink water and keep yourself cool. That's a sign in the background.
Okay.
I think I see. I wasn't sure if it was.
Yeah, I get it, but why do we need an extra break for this?
I don't think we are. I think we are getting a medical timeout of some sort.
Indeed. Probably, the excuse made, because I've seen the forecast 29 degrees. There was a graphic.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we have 25, so so I don't know why.
Wow, London's hotter than southern Italy.
Well, it's very windy since yesterday. This cool wind. Like yesterday, it was like September, actually. Still sunny, but that was. Yeah, so let's see. Unfortunately I don't have the the sound. Because
I'm turning my sound up, but no commentary. But I'm turning the sound up, so we might hear some words. But I think there was unless someone has fallen ill again in the crowd, because
probably.
Swiatek is warming up.
Thing is that I see Bencic touching herself everywhere. So.
Yeah, right. But I think it might be someone in the crowd because Bencic, you'd have thought if she's getting medical attention, there's a very slow-moving physio.
Yeah, indeed. No, and considering like it's the semi-final center court, it's
right. It's not like court 17, and they found someone in the crowd who can act as a physio.
Let's say. Well, British people are not made for 29 degrees.
I think you're right. Because, by the way, Bencic is certainly not getting any attention.
No.
It happened twice in the Sabalenka match, didn't it? There was two occasions when someone needed some attention.
Yeah, but it's something.
It's been pretty much a daily. I remember it happening in the Alcaraz match. I also remember it happening in another match on one of the outside courts. It's been a pretty frequent occurrence during this last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a bit weird that like 3 different times today because, yeah, for sure, 29 is hot and it's too hot for London, but it's not like super extreme. So, but I mean, when you are set on the court, like in Rome, when I go in May, it's like 21, 22 degrees and I'm on the verge of dying. So I understand.
Yep, right, indeed.
When you sit through a tennis match, like you stay there, the sun, it can be unbearable even if it's not like 30 plus degrees. So
yeah, and of course, summer sport we obviously play throughout the year, and it's always summer wherever we turn up, whether it be Australia, US, UK, France, whatever. And yeah, it's London this year that seems to be expensive. Australia is somewhere I do see it a fair bit. The Aussie Open seems to get particularly hot. New York,
yeah, the only thing of the Australian Open is that it usually changes a lot. So you maybe have a couple hours with huge heat, but then it slows down and everything's kind of back to normal. When I see the forecast, I always see like minimum 17, maximum 38, and I'm like, how is this possible? Because like where I live, it's like 4, 5, 6 degrees of difference between night and day because of the sea. So, well,
yeah, and I remember myself in Melbourne. I was there in 2006. I saw Roger Federer beat Tommy Haas in 5 sets. I watched the previous match to that, the one on prior, was a women's match between Sammy Stosur and Martina Hingis. Anyway, but that day was 4 seasons in one day. We had it was pretty windy and chilly at one point. It was windy and autumnal at others, and then unbearably hot at others. Yeah, I think we certainly had 3 of the 4 seasons anyway in one day.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We are ready to resume the match.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, I don't know why here we went ads. Whatever.
It will have been someone in the crowd, I think, but we just didn't see it this time. Normally we get the cameras and the umbrellas and the drinks being handed across. But yeah, I'm sure something happened in the crowd. Anyway,
okay, as well.
Bencic to serve. I think I'm still a few seconds ahead of you. Bencic is about to serve now. Am I ahead of you?
Now she's serving.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. It's very fine.
Yeah, I think I've just paused it for a couple more seconds. I think we are pretty much together. Second serve into the forehand of Iga. What a return from Iga Swiatek. She's not been disrupted by that break.
No. This is like the Iga, the super focused Iga we are used to.
Yeah, the French Open version. Yeah, for sure. What a funny year she's having. Incredible consistency. You know, until Bad Homburg, she hadn't reached a final, but she was getting to semi-finals just about everywhere. Semi-finals in Australia, match point, of course, against Madison Keys, who goes on to take the title. She gets to the semis in Indian Wells, I think. She lost to the semis to Mira Andreeva. Or was it quarters? Semis, no?
No, semis. She lost to Mira in the quarters in Dubai.
Right, quarters to Mira in Dubai, but semis in Australia. And then she's getting to the semis at the French Open. She's getting to the semis in Madrid. Was it semis where she lost to Coco?
Yeah,
semis or
quarters, 1-1 though. You know, the thing is that regardless of the results, we were seeing, you know, now we are watching a totally different version. You can see in her eyes, in her body language. So even though the result doesn't improve, let's say in terms of semi-final, final title, the impression you have now is better, I think, than the impression you had like a couple months ago. So then, of course, she's still super good that she can beat most of the players, and that's why she's in the semis many times. But still, there is a huge improvements we have seen in the past, since the French Open, actually, because, you know, at the French Open, we kind of saw a version of Iga which was resembling the old self, maybe except for that final set against Sabalenka. But even in that match, we started, you know, watching some good things. And so I would say that she's just improving and getting better and better. It may happen. Careers are made of ups and downs, even if relatives, because, you know, with Iga, we're really talking about a relative down, meaning that it's, you know, huge down if we think about her being Iga Swiatek, but, you know, she's always been top 10. She's always been around as one of the contenders. So, yeah, I think we should put this, let's say, like they like to say on Twitter, flop season narrative to bed probably after this Wimbledon, because, you know, now she's second in the race. Bencic wins the game.
Second in the race, is she?
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah. She surpassed Goff. So, so look, I think, you know, it's fine. Of course, we are all waiting for her to win a title. Let's see if it's going to happen this week. But even if it's not going to happen, this doesn't change the perception that she's getting better and better. So, you know, I'm expecting this to you know, to still be valid for the hardcourts. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, adding a Wimbledon really to her resume as well would be just...
Yeah,
I mean, like Damien says it many times, and I do agree with him, you know, regarding her US Open win that she had in that's a nice volley from her at the end. Regarding her US Open win, you know, changes her entire perception, because otherwise we would be sort of talking about her as being a clay merchant, wouldn't we? Especially in terms of slams. But that US Open win just means that we're not. And then she adds a Wimbledon to it. That's all three surfaces. You know, she could then go on and win 4 more French Opens, reach 10 slams, for example. But if you've got 2 away from Roland Garros, you've got a nice rounded CV, and you're in the legends conversation for sure. All three surfaces, double figures for slams. You can rest and know you've made your mark on tennis.
She is 24, so she's still very much like seeing the possibility of completing the set. And if she gets one of the 2 Grand Slams that she's lacking, and then she's pretty much on track to do it. Like same thing for, I don't know, Sinner, for example. Sinner also won 2. If he wins Wimbledon, he's for sure on track to complete the set. So I mean, and also of course winning Wimbledon, it's always special to win a Grand Slam that you haven't won before, because even though every Slam win is special, one thing is winning a Grand Slam for the 5th time. For me, another thing is winning one for the first, let's say. So yeah, great, absolutely. I don't really think she's right now thinking about legend, the all-time great. This is a thing we like to discuss.
Yes,
but
yes.
I'm pretty sure that in her mind is, I've never won here. I won this beautiful trophy in my house, let's say.
Yeah.
This is the main thing in my opinion. Then let's say that probably once she will be 27, 28, we will have a clear idea. I don't want to say clear, but clearer idea whether she will be, top 5, 10, 20, 15, I don't know, in, this history ranking. But yes, she's for sure building a legendary career. And if she wins Wimbledon, I think there's no discussion anymore, probably. Then we will keep, comparing, and that will never end. Actually, it never ended even for 20 plus Slam champions. But when you have 6 Grand Slam titles across 3 different tournaments, well, great, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it changes everything. I have to say, 13 months ago, going into the Wimbledon of 2024, I think I even had a video that I clipped and made saying this, where it was like, you know what, Iga's winning Wimbledon one day. I don't know whether it's 2024 or 2025 or 2026. That was how confident I was 13 months ago. But I can tell you now, and as Snehil is highlighting in the chat, that confidence changed quite dramatically over the last 13 months, where having seen her clay court season, going into the grass court season, I was thinking, I'm not sure she's ever, I was like, if you'd have said to me a year ago, is she winning Wimbledon one day? Yes. Is she winning Wimbledon one day? 2 weeks ago, I'd have said, I don't think she is. And yet here we are. She's on the verge, well, not quite on the verge of a final yet, but she's
probably probably at time we get carried away a bit from the form, and it's normal because you start getting concerns, and it's totally normal. But yeah, the thing is that when a player is that good, like Iga, even if she doesn't become that natural on grass, you still cannot counter out. And the same thing with other fantastic players we've had in the past, like, I don't know, even players who are not in the GOAT conversation, like for example Andy Murray on clay. He still was pretty close to a French Open title.
Madrid.
He won on the other big tournaments, but just focusing on the Slam, he wasn't that far away. So when you as a player are that good, it may happen that you have an opportunity, and Iga has already a bigger resume than that. And like, I don't know, probably we can say we can compare a little bit Iga with, I don't know, Yannick Sinner, probably. They're all very good on all surfaces. Probably on this, they are not this natural, but still they are so good. Like, you just know that they can have a chance. Then it may not happen. But yeah, I agree with you that, of course, clay season shattered a little bit our minds, because, you start thinking like, now it's getting long without herself being, holding a title. And so what happens now when you start comparing to some players in the past who have, maybe peaked early? And but yeah, she's just reminded herself, and ourselves especially, that she's just that good. And I think we are wrong if we close the door completely on that.
For sure, for sure. Bencic here, 40 love up on her serve. So a little bit of consolation for her in that she's holding serve a little bit better now than she was earlier. It is, of course, just one break. Just feels like a bit more than that in terms of the gap between the two players.
Yeah, but I mean, she's still kind of settling into the match. We'll see. You never know. If you keep yourself close, like a Samsonova, if you keep yourself in a position when you can use a little dip, and then who knows, things can get dangerous. Iga was 6-2, 4-2, 40 love up against Samsonova, and Samsonova managed to make that second set competitive. So you never have to, really let your opponent escape, because then you cannot put pressure. Like, one thing is for Iga to serve 5-3 with only one break. One thing is to get a second and just escape. And then we also know that Iga is one of the best front runners we have.
For sure. For sure. Okay. She's serving here. It's a lovely backhand down the line from Iga. 15 love. What do you think about Swiatek and serving? It has been a topic during this tournament, especially against Towson, I think it was, where she served really well. It's a topic that we sort of visited at the beginning of the year, just after Wim Fissette joined her team, in terms of her maybe making some adjustments to her serve and getting better results. And maybe we're seeing some results this last 2 weeks at Wimbledon.
She's serving clever. I've got to say,
Okay.
like, we always tend to think that, I don't know, a player to serve well has to strike at 190 on, but it's not always like that, as other great champions in the past have taught us. If you don't have the 140 mph serve, you probably never have it, but you can use angles so well, like, for example, yesterday we saw the match between Sinner and Shelton, and you think about Shelton that he is an incredible serving, but reality is that at the end of the day, Sinner got the better numbers, with the first serve was untouchable. Of course, that's also because of return level from the opposition. For example, in that case, Sinner returns better than Shelton. But still, it also means that you can be just even, 10 mph less, but using very well the slice, the angles, changing a lot, so your opponent can't really read yourself and with anticipation that well. And this can make you a great server. And that's what Iga has done so far.
Definitely. Yeah. What about the men's semi-finals we've got coming up? Me and Vanch think it's 60-40 Sinner Djokovic. Damien thinks it's probably a little bit closer to 65-35. So we're both thinking that we all think that Sinner's the favorite. Whether you, or maybe you might think it's 50-50. So what would you say? 50-50, 60-40 Jannik, 70-30 Jannik. What are your sort of thoughts on that?
It depends probably on Novak's serve.
Okay.
Yesterday, I expected better on that department. For example, this is a surface where, he can use that as a weapon a bit more. But yeah, still, I think, right now, Sinner has a little bit more margin. So, well, I probably tend to agree with you and Vanch on that. French Open, I was like, I really struggle to see.
Right, me too.
At a French Open, I don't want to make the mistake of counting him out, but still, I really struggle to see how it can happen. Here, I can see the vision, let's say, but yeah, I still think Sinner has a little edge, because right now, for reasons that are natural, like the age and everything, Novak is still an incredible player, but some things have a little bit declined from the past. So I think most will depend on how well he's going to serve. And, he just has to go down an incredible performance. He's able to do it. But yeah, I mean, Yannick enters as, in my opinion, as a favorite, a bit like you and Vansh said.
Rafa's having a good day. You see that? Hole in one.
Yeah.
He's a funny guy on Twitter.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is, by the way, still from yesterday. I just can't stop sharing it from time to time. Yeah, by the way, anyone just tuning in and not aware of what we've seen already today, we've seen Amanda Anisimova reach her first Grand Slam final, denying Aryna Sabalenka her first Wimbledon appearance.
Our guys born in 2001 are rising.
Who was born in 2001?
Me, Anisimova.
Who else? Anisimova? Anisimova was born in 2001?
Yeah, Swiatek,
Okay.
Sinner. So we are still 3 in.
Oh,
at
wow.
Wimbledon.
Okay. That's a good one. That's a nice stat. So yeah, you got Anisimova, Sinner, and Iga all born in 2001. Just coming to a Snarehill comment here. I do know what you mean, Snarehill. Like, you just don't know. You have no idea. The fact that it's Bencic followed by Anisimova, it's not maybe Sabalenka followed by Rybakina, for example. And who knows what the next generation of grass court players we might see. So, yeah. Do I see Swiatek winning 2-3 Wimbledons? No. Do I see her winning 1? Well, right now, I have to consider it as a serious possibility, yeah. I think she'll be favourite. Wouldn't she? She'd be favourite against Anisimova, wouldn't she?
Yes, probably.
She wouldn't have been favourite against Sabalenka, though. I think that's how big that result is, both for Iga and.
You know what?
I
start to have zero idea on that because, at the same time, when you play a final, Wimbledon final, in some cases the gap can widen compared to what normally would be, but in some cases can become slighter. And probably this would be one of the cases. Like, I don't know, 2 big rivals, Sabalenka having lost those finals. I don't know. This is for me, this is a really good chance for Iga. And I was thinking about that even before. But yeah, I get also what you say, for sure. Anisimova, for example, I've seen her doubting herself a bit in some moments.
Okay, just
she should avoid that.
Swiatek has 3 set points here. Love 40. That happened very quickly on the Bencic serve. She chases that ball down, Iga, and taps it back over the net. And she'll be very pleased to see that ball bounce twice. So 3 set points here. Sorry to interrupt you there, Mario, but love 40 on the Swiss serve, where you're going down the tee. Forehand return is pretty good, and Bencic can't deal with it. It's a miss-hit return, actually. So I said pretty good, but Iga holds her hands aloft and apologizes for that miss-hit return. But it's helped her win the set. Bencic shakes her head. And, job done so far for Iga.
Well, and after watching this set, I really would be shocked, to see something different happening in the second, because I see both things happening. Iga being very focused and knowing what to do, and Bencic not really being, at the best of her physical abilities. She's not moving as well as usual, in my opinion. So I really think that Iga is probably also sensing that and really putting on a clever performance. She's not rushing. She's not overheating. She's using the angles very well. And, watching this set, I'm pretty confident, and probably this is what it's awaiting us in the second set as well.
I didn't think about this point, but it's an interesting one that Gil makes here on Twitter. American women are now 8 wins away from the calendar Grand Slam. Obviously, we had Coco Gauff and Madison Keys winning the first 2 Grand Slams of the year. Amanda Anisimova is 1 match away from repeating that feat for the Americans. If we had a 4th one, I mean, Pegula will be very upset that she's not a part of this party, I think.
But at the same time, the best slam for her has to come.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, probably, she can think like US Open can be my opportunity, considering how well she did last year there, and actually in the whole North American summer.
Who else is a potential Grand Slam winner? Emma Navarro and Anisimova, of course, is in the final. Yeah, Pegula, really. I'm not sure Emma Navarro's winning a Grand Slam. Not sure. Kennan's already won one, of course. Kessler's day might come. Kruger's day might also come, but that's a few years away.
I don't know. Now, I don't see the vision.
No, not right now. No. Kruger, anyone thinking about maybe?
We'll see a week before the US Open, but right now, I gotta admit that I struggle to see the vision for these players you are mentioning. So,
Peyton Stearns, one day.
Okay, possible. Because she's that sort of player who can, not be consistent, but once maybe having the perfect fortnight, I can see that happening. So yeah, we'll see. But of course, these players like Keys, Anisimova, we all knew that they had something more in themselves. I'm not necessarily speaking about the ranking. I don't know if Anisimova will ever have, be second or third in the world. But at the same time, we kind of knew that she had it in her, like winning a slam or reaching the final. Let's not forget that she is 23, and considering how young she came, into the scene. We talk about her as a veteran almost, but she's like 23. So, she still has plenty of time. And actually winning your first slam at 23 is, let's say, normal. It happens to many players. So, she's not that late. The fact that she hasn't already collected 4 or 5 like these legends have done doesn't mean that she's running late. So
right, yeah. There's just a couple of things in the live chat I'd like to talk about. Hi, Jake. Great to see you. One stat that Snehil likes in particular, it's probably going to end one day, he suggests, but never lost a slam final. Yeah, double fault there. Is that 2 double faults in this game for me?
Yeah, 2 in a row.
Yeah. So 15-30 here. I saw a clenched fist from Bencic at the previous double fault. So maybe
it's always the coach's fault.
Oh, and there's another clenched fist. Yeah, Bencic does get annoyed, or at least I've seen it at Wimbledon a lot. I don't know if it's been a case in the past, but she has got annoyed at her box quite a few times during this tournament.
Bencic, used to do it in the past as well. She's one of these players who get angry at a box.
15-40, by the way. 15-40. So 2 break points as Iga Urs there with that shot going long. So
yeah, this is a bad game, for example. This is not an Iga game. Because, what has Bencic done?
Nothing. 2 double faults, and she's seen an unforced error go long from Iga. And she's going to have a second.
Basically, one return.
Yeah, second serve here. Missed the return. So she's still not done a great deal.
She's not done anything. So.
And she's still got a second break point.
I'm sorry for. Oh wow, but she missed this much. Whatever, it's still a miss.
Yeah. Iga saves that break point as that defensive shot from Bencic. She was on the desperate defensive side anyway. She couldn't keep that ball in, so it's deuce. Are our streams still more or less aligned, or am I ahead or behind?
Don't do anything. I'm fine.
Iga Swiatek serving here, but she's going to throw the ball up and catch it again.
Yeah, 3 seconds. It's not a deal.
All right, cool.
So
3 seconds, I'm ahead of you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I miss Discovery. The other slams I have Discovery.
It's funny, for me, the slams are quite good, but the main tour, terrible. When I'm watching on...
Everything is good. Terrible. Everything is good, not Wimbledon.
Except Wimbledon. Okay.
And maybe
You
that's
watch-
also why it's my least favorite slam. Usually, maybe because I
okay.
don't have a good one. No, but I think this thing, play a role.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
like I never have a great watching experience at home with Wimbledon, so I'm not even that hyped for it because I'm like, oh my god, I have to do that subscription, I have to pay that, and I don't have all the courts. Like Discovery gives me everything. So for me, Australia, Roland Garros, US Open, I really can do anything I want from qualis to the final. So
for me, in Germany, it's on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
But the rest, you're right. I think I watch at least 2 of the other 3 are on Discovery, maybe all 3 actually. There was one year, about 2 years ago at the US Open, there was just a random website called Sport Germany, basically, Sport Deutschland, I think, that had the US Open. But it was just 1 year. And I think I had to pay 30 euros that year. But now it's on Discovery. It's like pretty cheap and pretty good.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like for me with Sky, like I pay 25. Of course, I don't get the tennis, and that's it. I get other things, but I don't care. So not that I don't care, but it's not the reason why I make the subscription. I always think like it's not worth it. I don't want to do it, but then I don't watch Wimbledon at all. And this can be an important game. Like Swiatek avoids to get broken.
And she's going to hit a forehand winner down the line, and she gets out of the hole.
Yeah, important because, of course, it's not like it's been impossible to break Bencic, but still, after dominating a set, started, right away, a breakdown can, make also the opponent a bit more optimistic going to serve, and you never know. These are great players. You don't want to let them back in the match, especially in the Wimbledon semifinal. Like, so is my mom going to speak to me? One moment.
Of course. It was love 40, wasn't it, on the Sabalenka serve? She won those first 2 points. When she gets to 30-40, Mario. Oh, sorry, you've gone quiet.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm here.
When she gets to 30-40, I thought Sabalenka's doing this. She's getting out of love. She was love 40. Wasn't she love 40 on her serve, I think?
Yeah, she gets to 30-40, and I'm like, okay, wow, what if she saves this break point and
I know. Yeah.
And then, Anisimova has had 4 match points, and probably she wins that game, and she wins the match as well. Who knows? But I mean, it hasn't happened, so it's
no, it's buts and maybes.
Well, let's see this game for Bencic. Let's see if we can probably think about a more competitive second set or not. Probably not. We'll see.
Yeah. There was a Formula One commentator in the UK many years ago called Murray Walker, and he used to say Formula One, which is if backwards, because F1 looks a bit like if you move it.
That's true.
He had some funny expressions. Lovely backhand return there from Iga Swiatek. Love 30. Yeah, when Bencic had those break points before, I thought, well, Bencic breaking here makes interesting, but it's such a long way to go in this set, and how vulnerable she's been on serve throughout that it was like,
but I see it as one more game.
Right.
So,
exactly.
Even though maybe doesn't matter that much in terms of course, it being a break. Still, one thing is to be one game all, and one thing is like 6-2 to love, and it's all a different perspective. So you also have to put your opponent a bit more pressure. So you never know. Anything more you can do, the more likely your opponent is to feel a bit more pressure and maybe miss. So
indeed. Okay, so 15-30. She does win the next point at least. Goes down the tee there, but misses. Second serve here for Iga Swiatek to look at. Yeah, warmer weather in London than southern Italy. How about that? Oh, is that return landed in? Wow.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. 15-40.
Well, she's playing great.
Yeah, she doesn't want to have a repeat of the fourth round from 2 years ago.
No.
We want it, but she doesn't want that. She's not in the mood to have 3 sets and drama.
So both the first 2 finals of Swiatek's year can come on this surface.
Yeah, back to back on the grass, potentially. We're not there yet, but I know what I'm thinking that way.
Can come.
Yeah, I just didn't see it. You know, her worst clay court season in 5 years.
At times something happens and you let go all the bad stuff that was in your head, or maybe just the work starts to pay more. Because she always said that she was putting in lots of work with with the set and then the team, and it was not easy, of course, to see it not really paying off in terms of winning titles. But yeah, at times it can all click all of a sudden. Maybe she just had a better approach to the grass, because I don't know, she felt less pressure, and maybe it's good to start winning again where you feel less pressure to do it.
And Iga Swiatek gets the break. 51 minutes. It does feel now she has 1 foot in that Wimbledon final that she so desperately wants.
1.5, let's say, if she holds here.
Yeah, 3-love, and you're looking very good. Yeah. Sabalenka serving second today. When she gets that early break for 1-love, it is just 1-love, and then suddenly it's 2-1 to Anisimova, and then 2-1 becomes 4-1 as well. And of course, Sabalenka then has that tightrope when she's serving at 4-5. And who knows? I mean, it's all ifs, buts, and maybes. But we love.
Let's not forget that Anisimova is 6-3 up in that matchup, so she often she knows how to deal with Sabalenka's game. So all possible. And yeah, sure. The first points of games are important. And when she served for the match, she was love 15, then 15-30. Meanwhile, when she went to return, she had a couple great points to start. Then, suddenly it feels a lot better.
Absolutely. Yeah. Meanwhile, 30-15 here, Iga Swiatek, who's having no such dramas at the moment. 2 points away from a 3-love lead.
She's just serving so well. It's difficult to, she can start the point however she wants. So this is really what she needed to do, especially in this matchup, because, Bencic's return level is usually very high. So, yeah, she's doing great.
Yeah. Wim Fissette will be feeling a bit more comfortable about his position right now as well as Iga's coach.
For sure. However she does, after. I think this grass season really gave a new perspective to their work, let's say, their club.
Absolutely.
Another great serve we had. So, well, my dog is hungry because this match is not as entertaining as the first one.
Iga down the tee with that serve. I think it was an ace. I'm not sure, but it doesn't make any difference. She's 3-love up, much to the pleasure of her team. I like this stat from about Sabalenka that you put on Twitter earlier, I don't think Arena will be feeling great about it right now.
No, for sure. It doesn't matter. Like,
No.
as I say, tennis is beautiful for this reason. You know, of course, not every stats are important. Like this one doesn't matter at all. But also, like in the end, in the big picture, maybe, you know, in the moment after, the feeling is different. But in the big picture, losing love and love is the same as losing after 4 hours and a half.
Yeah, absolutely, it is. But it is different as well, because like that when I mentioned her loss to Coco, you're absolutely in Madrid. You're absolutely right to say and it was 1-on-1. You know, and it's like
but because I'm there analyzing, but like next year we aren't going to remember it that much, you know, especially if Iga, I don't know, has won other titles.
If she wins Wimbledon, it will not. It's not even in a conversation anymore, really. But at the time,
I'm not going to say that we don't remember, but it's not important. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, at the time it is on clay, even in Madrid, you're going, wow, Iga losing 1-on-1 is just not what we're used to. She also lost she had a bagel set, didn't she? Got bageled by Madison Keys in Madrid as well.
Yeah, she won the match then in the end. Yeah, it was the first set. And it was also kind of because she had lost the semi in Australia to Madison. So, you know.
Yeah. Snehill's not too. Snehil, by the way, is a big Iga fan, but he's not giving.
I got it. We are as well.
By the way, I don't know if you saw this tweet I shared on the screen earlier from Sasa Osmo. It's more of the but if he's practicing somewhere else, no big deal.
Yeah, that's why I say I don't know what to take from this. Because of course, usually, you know, Sinner did the same, for example. Usually if you have any little concern, maybe it's better to not give anybody some information, especially in this part of the tournament when everybody is, you know, 4 players left. So
Yeah, 4 on the men's side, 3 on the women's. I mean, Taylor Fritz is he's the one that we sort of probably all had in the quarterfinals. He's the outsider of the 4. Can he beat Carlos? Is there anything he can do? I mean, if he has a great serving day.
Yeah, let's say that despite Carlos being that great at Wimbledon, I think probably this is the court where Taylor Fritz can think about,
for sure,
you know, being more dangerous. Even though Carlos is, you know, Wimbledon is his courtyard now, but, you know, for how Taylor plays and how confident he is on the grass, I think that if there's a court right now where he would like his chances at least to cause trouble, probably this is the one. But yeah, of course, many things have to, you know, to come together. We'll see.
It's funny, you know, we often talk about Carlos and Yannick and what careers they might or might not have and who might win more slams. We've probably had similar conversations about Iga and Arena as well, probably a bit less, but anyway, it's there. And the funny thing is, there's a comment here about Snehill's got that obviously Iga has 5 slams and Arena has 3. An hour and a half ago, 1.5 hours ago, for me, I was probably thinking, I think Arena's going to win more slams than Iga. And yet now, you know, it goes from being potentially 5-4 to possibly 6-3. I mean, we had lots of conversations with the big 3 over the years.
I've had this with the big 3. Like every slam, especially because I was younger, so I was a hardcore fan.
Yeah.
You know, I was really caring about the slam race. So every slam, I had a different opinion. Like, you know, I was, you know, very young, very big on Novak, and so I was really caring about that race. And like he doesn't win the slam, I'm like, oh, no way he comes on top, no way.
I mean, obviously, if we go back to 2009 or maybe even a bit later, 2010, something like that, isn't it 16 for Roger and 4 for Novak? Is that right?
No, 4 Rafa, I think, and 1
Rafa,
Novak.
1 Novak and 16 Roger. Is it something like that?
Yeah, probably Rafa had more though in 2010.
Maybe 2000, maybe 2009 then.
Yeah, but okay, yeah, of course, 2011 Australian Open was no second Grand Slam.
2011. Okay.
Yeah, 2011.
So let's say whatever Rafa might have had 7 or something. Maybe it was like that. But I think it was the biggest gap, of course, was 16. I think for Roger and 1
Yeah,
for
we
Novak.
have the right stat, I think.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. So Novak 16. Sorry, Rafa. Roger 16. Rafa 9.
In
Novak 1.
2010, it makes sense because Rafa won 3 in 2010, 2 in 2008, I think, as well. Then, of course, the French Opens.
So, but certainly for sure, once Novak becomes part of the conversation about 3 or 4 years later, yeah, you're seeing, for example, I don't know, maybe when Rafa beat Novak in that French Open semi-final. Certainly when Rafa starts beating Roger with regularity, 2014 Australian Open semi-final when Rafa just easily beats Roger, and you think he's going to beat Wawrinka in the final, and you think, wow, that's 1 less for Roger and 1 more for Rafa, and so on. And then even more recently, like when Novak gets injured at the US Open. Oh, Swiatek break point, but she doesn't take it. US Open 2019, Novak loses to Wawrinka, and I remember that day thinking, oh, I think he might do it, because I think that put Rafa on 19, and Roger was on 20 then, but wasn't sure if he was going to win another one, and of course he didn't in the end. And I think it was 19 then and 16 for Novak. So that was sort of a 3 advantage that Rafa had.
Probably for me started at Australian Open 2019, yeah, when he won 3 in a row, and Wimbledon 18, US Open 18, Australian Open 19. So probably that was the first moment.
You thought Novak was going to win the race, yeah?
No, I don't know, but I started thinking, okay, it's possible, because for me, like, I know that probably I should have a better ability to think big and and far away, but I'm not really able to do it. So unless it's like, let's say 3-4 difference, I can't start talking about that.
What a return, Iga Swiatek, and she gets a double break. There was a double fault in there from Bencic as well, but great return from Iga. And serve and return, Mario, has been a thing this year's Wimbledon for sure. People have been critical about both of those elements of her game, but I'm telling you now, you can't be too critical today for sure.
No, but because, I mean, with Iga, can serve and return really well. It more like depends more on her level on the day, probably, rather than, her abilities. And she's doing great this fortnight in that department. And we are seeing it in these matches. So, and I mean, you never stop also developing your game and improving. I mean, that's also why there are players who can keep winning slams in their 30s, like Serena did, for example. Wow, that was some return from Bencic. But yeah, I mean, it won't matter in the match.
The next return is not so exciting.
Okay. Yeah, I see it.
Sorry, yeah.
Well, whatever.
Snehil here saying he was worried, obviously, as a Novak fan when Rafa got to 22. Yeah, I can see that. Rafa has a healthy year that year, and who knows, he might get 1 more. He might win either Wimbledon, of course, he was in the semi-finals, or he might win the US Open of 2022. He certainly had a shot in 2022 at the US Open. I mean, obviously, Novak wasn't there. So it was a pretty open one. He was on the opposite side of the... Was he on the opposite side of the draw to... No, he would have played Carlos in the semis. That's what he would have had, because he lost to Tiafoe, didn't he, in the 4th round. So, yeah, the confidence I had in Novak in 2023 post that US Open win is really drained now, especially the RJ loss to Sinner. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't really like as a Rafa fan. I don't even think about the race anymore. I mean, it's done. So
yeah, I also think the same. And as well, another thing is that it was just a matter of time. That, of course, something, I think we have more to look at the positive side, because how many players at that age were still that good? And, if for some reason for example, let's say if Dimitrov's pull the upset off in round 4, then Novak is the clear favorite to reach the final.
Yeah.
And Novak has beaten Carlos, okay, not at Wimbledon in the past 2 years, but it's a matchup where he's shown that he's able to do things that trouble Carlos. So suddenly it becomes very possible. So what I want to say is that, he's still clearly the 3rd best player in the world right now.
Yeah.
So, and this is remarkable. This means you are a competitor. And yeah, I mean, of course, it's not easy to see him beating, guys like Yannick and Carlos back to back. It's, if it happens, it would be one of the feats of the century. But, he's here. And, once you're in the semi, I think you can count out a player who still has managed to be able to find that extra special thing.
Indeed.
Especially on a surface where his serve can shine, in my opinion.
Absolutely. It's the thing really that's shined most for him this year. I mean, I remember that run he had to the Miami final before losing to
exactly.
Bencic, and he was serving so well in that tournament, and he still can be the best server in the world on any given day. And if he serves
what he did in 23 at the ATP finals, for example, I mean, it's not that likely right now, but still he did, because on that court he was serving so well. I remember the final, and there was basically no chance of breaking, and same for Carlos in the semi. So when you let 2 amazing returners like them, completely, weaponless on return, and this has been his special thing. That's been what has led him. Of course, we can't expect him to play 40-shot rallies as well as he used to do in 2016. But of course, he is great because, there are many ways to win in tennis.
Oh, Bencic has just fallen again, but more importantly, Iga has held for 5-love. She's going to get up, but I don't think she's going to get up from the 5-love deficit, that's for sure. But anyway, another tumble to the ground. But she did play some really good tennis in that game. Sorry, Mav, for interrupting, but she played some really good tennis in that game, and yet she still lost it. So even if she'd have broken there, I think it wouldn't have been too much. But
Iga is just playing very well today. That has to be said. I think it will be an exciting final. The only thing probably that let's see how Anisimova handles.
I just hope that she turns up. I don't
know why I'm having Lisicki flashbacks. But I hope it won't be that way. Of course, I want to watch, sorry for the Iga fans, but I really want to watch a good final, regardless of who wins. For me, it's the same, but I really want to watch a good final. And there are possibilities because Anisimova is a fantastic player. But I'm just a little bit worried about the occasion. Let's see how she will handle the occasion.
I was worried. I wasn't in terms of Anisimova and big occasions. She came through a difficult quarterfinal in some ways with, obviously she had that 5-2 lead that then disappeared, but it didn't give me any encouragement regarding her semi-final and where she would be at mentally. And even though she won today in really difficult circumstances, obviously serving for it and having the match points come and go, it still doesn't give me huge amounts of confidence because of the way she tried to serve it out in particular.
Yeah, look, and, think that the final is totally different kind of occasion. I think, I've never played a Wimbledon final and a Grand Slam final, but I'm really sure, you really feel something that it's incomparable, even to a Slam semifinal or a final of another sort of big event. You feel like, in my opinion, I think you feel like part of history and one in a lifetime chance. So,
Mario, just got a phone call. I'll be back in a minute, Mario. All right, just got a phone call.
Okay, sure. So, do you think Vansh is better than Bencic? Probably. We'll ask Bansh how he thinks about that. Bencic is serving, trying to avoid the bagel. 15 all. I don't think it matters. Oh, thanks, Jay. I love you back, actually. I appreciate it a lot. Gossip, my dog steak. Well, I'm gonna ask him. So if we do a prediction, I don't know, a preview of the women's final, I will tell you what my dog thinks about the final. 15:30. Return quality 9.7. So this says it all about Iga. 9.7 return quality.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Oh, very bad mistake. What a bad performance, Iga. So bad.
Wait till you see the next return, though. I've
seen it now.
You have.
Match fine.
The next return is just sensational. I'm actually going to talk through this point. I think there's too much drama. 30-40 into the body, the serve, and it's going to land just on the line. And so she's in trouble here. Iga on the attack. Bencic wants to avoid the bagel. Is she going to do it? She's got a drive volley to hit, and she does it. I think, no, Iga's defended it. We're still live. The ball is live. She's got a smash now, and she puts that away.
Yeah.
Iga was like a cat there with 9 lives in that rally.
Also, Cat has 9 lives in England.
Yeah.
In English, 9 lives. Okay.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay, in Italy, 7.
Oh, 7. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know why we say sette vite. 7 lives.
Yeah. I don't know why
we are not that good.
Yeah. Deuce, anyway. So Bencic survives, but she's going to have another match point to fend off. I mean, that return, by the way, before the one that set up the match point, it was her best. I mean, I know she's returned well today, but it was still sensational. Right, yeah. I'm going to talk through this match point.
Yeah, go.
First serve goes into the net, so we've got a second serve here for Iga to look at on her second match point. Appropriately enough, I think Bencic is pretty keen to avoid the humiliation of a bagel. But let's see. Backhand return from Iga. It's going to be too good. And there you go. And there's a Yasta there. I can lip read there. Wim Fawcett is smiling. He knows his job is safe for a few more months at least.
Fantastic.
Iga Swiatek in her first Wimbledon final. Mario, what are your thoughts on that 6-2, 6-love win for Iga Swiatek?
Well, it was not a match I was expecting, honestly. Even when I was thinking about a straightforward win, which I thought it could be possible, I still was like thinking, I don't know, 3-3, 2-3, something like that, let's say. But yeah, Bencic was, probably not, at 100% in my opinion in some moments. But Iga took full advantage and hit so well, served and returned incredibly well. And, I'm sorry, but this performance makes me think she's the favorite for the final, even though I think Anisimova has chances, of course. But, it really convinced me a lot. That's my comment on that.
Me too. I do want to have a few minutes on the final, but just one more thing or let's have a reflection on this as well. Bencic waved for the crowd. She was a long, long way off the levels needed to beat Iga Swiatek today, but perhaps you could argue no one on the planet would have beaten Iga today. I don't know, but certainly Bencic was off it today. I think she was a little bit under par. She's had although it was a straight sets win in the win over Andreeva, it was a pretty lengthy match. I think,
more than 2 hours, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And she felt like she was feeling it physically then as well. But from first ball to match point, Iga Swiatek very much had her grip on this semi-final as they have a darts emoji, but also the strawberries, which she enjoys with pasta, apparently. 6-2, 6-love, she won.
Oh, my take on that is super positive. The pasta Iga eats.
Oh, really?
Yeah, super positive.
Wow, I'm shocked as an Italian that someone is eating strawberries.
First of all, I always support foreign cuisine and culture. I find disrespectful. Like, it's not that I have the science, the cooking science. And I also tried it. after she mentioned it, and I liked
Really?
it. Yeah. So.
All right, she's going to talk right now. Let's have a listen to what she's got to say.
Honestly, I never even dreamt that it's going to be possible for me to play in the final. So I'm just, super excited and just proud of myself. And I don't know, tennis keeps surprising me. I thought I lived through everything, even though I'm young. I thought I experienced everything on the court, but I didn't experience playing well on grass. So that's the first time, and I'm super, super excited and just enjoying it.
Well, as you say, grass has often been a challenge for you. It's your 6th appearance here at Wimbledon, but how are you finding the formula to playing such terrific grass court tennis?
Well, every opponent is different, so every match I also need to, adjust my game, but for sure I feel like I improved my movement and I'm serving really well and I feel really confident, so I'm just going for it and for sure it's working, so I'll keep doing that.
Well, absolutely. Now, as you walk onto court, you're often listening to music. What was the music that got you in the mood today?
Same as every time, I like to keep my routines, so there's some AC/DC, Guns N' Roses, Led Zeppelin, so the Rolling Stones.
Interesting.
So,
She has to see Oasis if she wants the support on Saturday.
Yeah, they're playing a concert in London, I think, maybe this weekend. Not sure. Or Manchester, maybe.
All the time, I can be able to sleep. So it's just pretty much, just to pump myself up. But off the court, when I don't compete, I'm more of a pop, jazzy, something. I don't know.
Still energetic.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you certainly pumped yourself up for this match. We now know the women's final. You're going to be up against Amanda Anisimova.
Yes.
What kind of final can we expect?
Well, I don't think I played Amanda on WTA. We played in juniors and.
Okay.
And she can play amazing tennis and she loves fast.
It's weird.
Yeah.
And fast. So you'll have to be ready for fast shots. For her being proactive. But I'm just gonna kind of focus on myself. I'll prepare tactically tomorrow because as I said, we know each other from juniors and I know how she plays, but we never played a match, so I think. But I don't have good memory. I'll just prepare tomorrow and as before any other match.
Well, we certainly look forward to seeing.
Well, let's if you've got 5 minutes, Mario, I'd like to speak to you
I
about
got 5 minutes. Yeah.
We're gonna probably repeat some of the things that we said during the live stream, but that's okay. So first of all, they've never played each other. I didn't know that until Iga said it, and now I'm sharing their head-to-head, which is obviously 0-0. She knows her from juniors, same age or same year of birth as you highlighted before as well, 2001. What can we expect?
If you think Anisimova and Sabalenka have played 9 times, so.
Yeah, right. 6-3 now. Of course, Anisimova leads that after that win earlier on today. But what can we expect? I mean, Anisimova, if she plays her normal game, and there is a reason I'm asking that question, we'll address that in a moment. But if she plays her normal game, we know what that game is. Yeah. Is it a game that can trouble Iga? Maybe. Yes. Maybe. Go on, Mario.
For me, yes. I'm very big on Anisimova, actually. Not for the final, in general. So I think among all these hard-hitting players, she's really one of the best. And so I think her normal game can trouble anybody. Of course, Iga's game can trouble anybody as well, and probably even more. So for sure, especially after watching what happened today, for sure, Anisimova had an even tougher task than Iga. So, I'm not really going into, how easily they won today because, everything is different. And, one thing is beating, Sabalenka. We know how tough it is to beat Arena in slams. So, but she has the weapons to give Iga troubles. At the same time, I think she has to serve a bit better. My dog disagrees probably. Um, and also, yeah, I told you before about my little concern about the occasion.
Yes.
If she's going to handle it well.
I share those concerns. I share those concerns.
I don't know if yeah.
I'm going to repeat what I said during the live stream, just because this is going to be a separate video as well as a preview.
Yeah, sure.
But, yeah, I share those concerns about the occasion, and there's actually those concerns have been added to, despite the fact that she's come through the last 2 matches. She was up 5-2 on Pavlyuchenkova. I did a watch along for that, and she was struggling to get over the line.
Yeah,
she only loosened up when it suddenly went to the tiebreak, and she's 6-3 down. Very similar narrative today. You know, she tries to serve it out. I mean, if she's trying to serve it out as a semi-final, it was honestly, that was not Amanda Anisimova in that game. That was someone else that had taken over her body, because she changed her game. She was hitting shots down the middle. She was not taking any risks at all. And Sabalenka was just waiting for the error, and it came, and she couldn't do it. Then she's on return, and it's like Amanda's back, and she's fizzing those returns over the net. And so there's not been a huge amount of, encouragement in a way, despite coming through those 2 matches. And that is a concern for me, especially if you and I know we're both keen for a really competitive, exciting final. Maybe Iga wins it 7-5 in the third. Maybe Anisimova wins it, 6-3 in the third, whatever. But for that to happen, we need Amanda Anisimova to turn up from start to finish, because Iga is really hitting top form right now, Mario.
Yeah, hitting top form. And, I don't really think she's going to feel the occasion that much, I
don't think Iga will, no. Six slam final, and she's won the previous 5, right?
Yeah, I know that it's the first at Wimbledon, but okay. I mean, at least not that sort of, anxiety and pressure that, she really is another version of herself. No, that's not going to happen, I really think. So, it will be important to, for Amanda to just shut down everything. It's not easy. And she hasn't really been able to do it this tournament. You're right. She played probably better than what every match in the end showed in the scoreline, meaning that many times she could have had a better killer instinct. And yeah, she got a bit more passive in some moments. And so, yeah, this is a bit concerning. At the same time, I'm not sure that it's going to happen. I don't want to really, not believe in her ability to prepare the match well and to play her best. So, if she manages to enter the court, as she always does, I think she will put up on a fight, because she has the tennis to do it. She just is, a fantastic player who has slam winning potential. So I think, she can have an opportunity. We'll see, of course. It will depend on many factors. But yeah, I can see it happening.
Mario, when I said about the matchup, and I think you were quite encouraged from Anisimova's point of view regarding this matchup. In other words, being someone who could trouble Iga. There's certain players we know that Iga comes up against and she's just beating them, especially pretty defensive-minded players, or less the ones that don't have so many weapons but can get under Sabalenka's skin, for example, have tended not to get under Swiatek's. However, you seem to be quite encouraged about this matchup for Anisimova, right?
Yeah, because I simply think that Anisimova does everything at a good enough level. So for me, it's not really about
she can take time away from Iga as well. That's one of the things.
And for me, really about Anisimova, it's not about that particular thing of her game, because I think she has the game to trouble anybody with different things. She can return so well as well. And so, of course, backhand, she can have an edge in that cross court. We'll see. But, for me, it's basically mostly about, simply her being able to do those things at an incredibly high level. And so even more than the type of player she is, because, you know, we know that we always talk about hard hitters, for example. Yeah, of course. But, you know, even there you have players who can do everything at a higher level, and Anisimova can do that. So, you know, I'm very positive on that point of view. Then, of course, everything can happen because Iga can just play an incredible match and cruise, you know, through it all, and maybe win easily, and maybe, as we said, probably Anisimova fitting the occasion. But, you know, if I have to analyze their game, Anisimova has the game, and I never would consider herself beaten against anybody, honestly.
Right. Maybe she just needs to go down on the scoreboard to relax, and then.
No.
And then
but
yeah.
I don't know, because in a slam
Not
final,
too far. Not 6-2-5 love like Bencic
you know,
was down
because in a slam final, you know, we've seen it before. For example, with Keys against Stephens, with Bouchard against Kvitova, when you know, the opponent starts winning games, it's difficult. In a slam final, you maybe everything becomes too overwhelming. So no, I actually think she has to enter the scoreline pretty fast, in my opinion.
True. Iga, in my opinion, is going to win this final, and there's 3 reasons for that. And I think it will be one of these 3 things, if not all 3, that help her. I do think she's serving probably better than ever before, particularly here at Wimbledon. The return today was just wild in terms of how good it was. Now, Nerland sort of mentioned that her serve today was not great. Bencic is that, and Anisimova can serve better for sure. But still, Iga's been returning throughout this tournament so well. And it's a part of her game that I know Nerland, for example, has been critical of, and maybe others too. But it's just going so well. And the third reason is the occasion. It's something we've touched on. We've probably talked about a lot. But if there's one person that's going to handle the occasion better than the other, for me, it's Iga Swiatek. 5 slam finals, 5 Grand Slam wins. And it's a new territory for Amanda, but we have seen some nerves in the last couple of rounds as she's gone deeper and deeper in this. If she can put that aside and just hit freely, she can definitely trouble Iga, can take that time away. But I just think there's too many variables really probably needed to go Amanda's way to make her the favorite to win this match, but even to win it in general. What about you, Mario?
I tend to agree.
Yeah. Okay, well, big thanks to you, Mario, for joining me for both the watch-along of Swiatek against Bencic. It was certainly a less dramatic watch-along than the previous one we had with the win that Anisimova had, of course, over Sabalenka in 3 sets earlier, but that was that. And we look forward to the final, and both Mario and I both want exactly the same thing, which is an epic final to match what we've also seen, at least in the first semi-final today. But once more, I'm going to say thanks, Mario.
Thank you. Thank you.
And to everybody else, we'll see you for both of the men's semi-finals tomorrow. We're looking forward to that. I think we've got James and Eddie on for the first men's semi-final between Alcaraz and Fritz. And then we'll have Nick and Damien is going to join Nick, I think, from set 3 onwards tomorrow as well for the second semi-final between Sinner and Djokovic. Everybody else, thanks for joining, and you know the drill. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.